Setting up rules also is pretty simple once you understand how it all works together. So we'll go down here because we're going to set up this rule about after hours. We click on the Rule tab. And you'll notice here we have several rules set up in the account, many of which are called sys rules. Sys rules are default rules that the system already knows about. All you have to do is select which ones you want in your back office. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a rule down here called after hours. We'll open it into the editor. You notice now we have our after hours new rule, but there's nothing set up as the selector. It's not a cron rule, but it is active. So now we'll edit it. First thing you put into the after hours is the notification email. Who's going to hear about the rule? And we have previous emails set up here, so we'll just select all of those. Is this a system rule? Well, yes, it is. So what you simply do is select from the predetermined, pre-configured system rules after hours use alert. And you will now notice that all of the blanks have been filled in for you. You don't need to do anything else. It's all done. It is an active rule. It's not a cron rule. The description is the after hours use alert. The predetermined rule selector is sys rule. The email subject, the rule actually lays that out for you. And the system rule also defines what the email is that comes out to you. If there's an SMS message involved, the system rule also defines that. All that's left for you to do is determine which vehicle does this particular rule apply to. Now, remember I told you that different hours can be applied to different vehicles? Well, you may have 30 vehicles in your fleet, and all of them may have different hours of operations. Simply select all trucks. Now, each of these trucks, each of these vehicles, based on their individual hours of operation settings, are now set up to alert you in the event, and we go down here to the status codes, in the event that the ignition comes on. And you'll notice all these different status codes that can be watched to see to it whether or not the vehicle is being operated after hours. Typically, we use ignition on, which is OX401. Now what happens is all of your vehicles, based on the hours that were defined in the vehicle administrator, are watching to see if the ignition comes on after hours or before hours. In other words, the ignition comes on outside of the defined hours, for instance, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. for Monday, that you selected for unit number 205. That is really all there is to it, to setting up the after hours use alert rule notification. And you'll see that there are the notification emails can go out to whomever is responsible for the operation of that vehicle or for the management of that vehicle. As usual, we click on Change to save it. And now when you go up here, you'll notice after hours use alert. The selector is set up as sys rule, and it is active. That means, starting now, any vehicles in the fleet used after hours where the ignition comes on will turn in an alert to the system, which will in fact send emails to the 4 individuals that are in the notify email that that vehicle is in use after hours. And the email does specify which vehicle it is. That's all there is to it. Any of these rules, of course, can be selected and can be put into place for your vehicles in your fleet.